the key to my success. Success. It's a word we all chase, whether it's in our careers, relationships, or personal growth. It's something we all want to unlock, but the key to success can often seem elusive. Today, I want to share with you the key to my success. And no, it's not a secret formula or some extraordinary gift. It's something much simpler, but equally powerful. Vulnerability is often seen as a weakness in our society. It's something we try to avoid, a state we often hide from. But over the years, I've come to realize that vulnerability is not a flaw, nor is it something to be ashamed of. It is, in fact, one of the most powerful tools we have for success, and it's been the key to unlocking many doors in my life. Embracing vulnerability has taught me lessons about connection, growth, and resilience that I would not have learned otherwise. When we think of vulnerability, we often associate it with weakness, exposing our fears, insecurities, and imperfections. We worry that showing these parts of ourselves will make others see us as flawed or incapable. But what I have discovered is that embracing vulnerability is not about exposing ourselves to others for judgment. It's about being real with ourselves and the world. Vulnerability is about allowing ourselves to be seen as we truly are, without hiding behind a facade of perfection. When we are willing to show up as our authentic selves, it is an invitation for others to do the same. It's easy to hide behind a mask of confidence, to present a polished version of ourselves that we think others will accept. We are conditioned to believe that we must always appear strong, capable, and in control. But the truth is, this constant need for perfection can be exhausting and isolating. When we hide behind masks of strength, we disconnect from others. We build walls around ourselves that make it difficult to form real, meaningful relationships. People may see us, but they don't truly know us. They see the version of ourselves we want them to see, not the full picture. The real power of vulnerability lies in its ability to foster connection. When we allow ourselves to be vulnerable, we give others permission to do the same. Vulnerability creates a space where honesty, openness, and trust can flourish. It breaks down barriers and allows us to connect with others on a deeper level. In my life, I've found that the moments when I've allowed myself to be most vulnerable have been the times when I've formed the strongest connections with others. For example, I can recall times in my career when I didn't have all the answers or felt unsure of myself. In those moments, instead of trying to cover up my uncertainty, I allowed myself to be vulnerable and asked for help. I shared my concerns and acknowledged my limitations. What happened next was remarkable. People responded with empathy, guidance, and support. Instead of seeing me as weak or incapable, they saw me as human, just like them. By showing my vulnerability, I opened the door to collaboration and growth. Vulnerability allowed me to lean on others, gain new perspectives, and strengthen my skills in ways that would not have been possible if I had pretended to have it all together. Vulnerability also plays a crucial role in personal growth. When we allow ourselves to be vulnerable, we create space for learning and self-reflection. It takes courage to confront our fears, insecurities, and shortcomings. But when we face them head-on, we are empowered to grow. Vulnerability allows us to step outside of our comfort zones, take risks, and push beyond the limits we've placed on ourselves. It encourages us to try new things, make mistakes, and learn from them. Each failure, each misstep becomes an opportunity to grow, not a reason to retreat. In my own journey, I've had to face many uncomfortable truths about myself. There have been moments when I felt inadequate or unsure of my path. But instead of hiding from those feelings, I leaned into them. I accepted that it's okay not to have all the answers, and that vulnerability is not a sign of weakness, but a sign of strength. It is in those moments of uncertainty that I have learned the most about myself and discovered new strengths I didn't know I had. Another important aspect of vulnerability is its connection to resilience. Life is full of challenges, and at times it can feel like the weight of the world is on our shoulders. But vulnerability has taught me that it's okay to be vulnerable in those moments of struggle. In fact, it is often the key to bouncing back. When we are willing to acknowledge our pain, fear, or uncertainty, we open the door to healing. Vulnerability allows us to express our emotions, share our burdens, and seek support. It is through this openness that we gain the strength to overcome obstacles. I've also realized that embracing vulnerability is essential for creativity and innovation. In order to create something new, we must be willing to take risks and step into the unknown. This requires vulnerability. Whether it's launching a new project, pursuing a dream, or making a bold decision, vulnerability is the foundation of creativity. Without the willingness to expose ourselves to the possibility of failure or criticism, we will never reach our full potential. The most successful and innovative people in the world are those who are not afraid to take risks, fail, and learn. They understand that vulnerability is an essential part of the creative process. For me, embracing vulnerability has been one of the most empowering choices I've made. It has transformed the way I approach challenges, relationships, and personal growth. Instead of seeing vulnerability as something to hide from, I now see it as the key to unlocking my true potential. It has allowed me to connect more deeply with others, take risks, learn from failures, and ultimately become a better version of myself. In the end, vulnerability is not a sign of weakness, it is a sign of strength. It takes courage to be vulnerable, to expose our true selves to the world, and to embrace our imperfections. But in doing so, we open ourselves to connection, growth, and success in ways that we never thought possible. So I encourage you to embrace vulnerability in your own life. Don't be afraid to show up as you truly are, flaws, fears, and all. Because in vulnerability, you will find the power to create the life you've always dreamed of. Resilience is a quality that many of us wish we had more of, especially when we face difficult situations, setbacks, or failure. It's one of the most powerful and transformative aspects of success. At its core, resilience is the ability to recover from adversity, to bounce back after setbacks, and to keep moving forward even when life feels overwhelming. It is this trait that has been crucial in shaping my journey, and I've come to understand that resilience is not something you're born with, but rather something that is cultivated over time. One of the first lessons I learned about resilience is that it isn't about avoiding hardship. Many people mistakenly believe that resilient individuals never experience hardship or struggle, but this couldn't be further from the truth. In fact, resilience is born in the midst of difficulty. It's forged in the fires of adversity, when things don't go according to plan, when failure feels inevitable, and when it seems like giving up might be easier than pushing through. It's during these moments of struggle that resilience is tested and ultimately developed. I've encountered many challenges in my life, both personal and professional. There have been times when things didn't turn out as I had hoped, when my best efforts seemed to fall short, or when I felt overwhelmed by obstacles. But it was during these times that I realized something important. Resilience isn't about being unaffected by difficulty. It's about how we respond to those difficulties that define our ability to overcome them. Resilience is about facing adversity with courage and choosing to move forward, despite the challenges that lie ahead. One of the most important aspects of resilience is the ability to learn from failure. Failure is something that most people fear, yet it is often one of the greatest teachers we have. When we fail, it's easy to get discouraged, to feel defeated, and to believe that we're not good enough. But what I've learned is that failure is not the end, it's an opportunity to reflect, reassess, and grow. Failure provides us with valuable lessons that success cannot. It shows us where we need to improve, what strategies need to change, and how we can approach things differently next time. Each failure, no matter how painful it may feel, carries with it the seeds of future success. Resilience is the ability to take those lessons, dust ourselves off, and keep going. The key to developing resilience is to adopt a mindset of growth. Rather than seeing setbacks as signs of defeat, we can choose to see them as opportunities for growth. A resilient mindset allows us to view obstacles not as permanent roadblocks, but as temporary challenges that can be overcome with time, effort, and persistence. This mindset shift is crucial because it changes the way we approach adversity. Instead of shrinking back in fear or frustration, we are able to face challenges head-on, knowing that we have the strength and ability to learn, adapt, and continue moving forward. Another important element of resilience is the ability to maintain hope, even in the most difficult of circumstances. It's easy to lose hope when things aren't going well or when the path ahead seems uncertain. But hope is what keeps us going, even when we can't see the light at the end of the tunnel. Hope provides the motivation to keep pushing forward, to believe that better days are ahead, and that with persistence and determination, we can overcome any obstacle. I've found that during the hardest times in my life, holding on to hope has been one of the most powerful tools for resilience. It's the belief that no matter how difficult the journey may be, There is always a way through, and that every setback is a setup for a future comeback. Resilience is also deeply tied to our ability to maintain a sense of purpose. When things get tough, it's easy to question why we're doing what we're doing. It can be tempting to abandon our goals and dreams when we encounter setbacks, especially if those dreams feel out of reach. But when we have a clear sense of purpose, a reason for why we keep going, it becomes much easier to stay the course. A strong sense of purpose gives us the drive to persevere even when the road gets rough. It reminds us that our efforts are not in vain, that our hard work is building towards something meaningful. For me, keeping a clear sense of purpose has been a key factor in staying resilient. When faced with obstacles, I remind myself of why I started in the first place, and that keeps me moving forward even when the going gets tough. It's also important to recognize that resilience is not something that can be developed in isolation. While individual strength is important, resilience is often strengthened through community. Having a support system, whether it's family, friends, or colleagues, can make all the difference when it comes to bouncing back from setbacks. There were times in my life when I felt like giving up, but it was the encouragement and support of others that helped me keep going. Resilient people don't face challenges alone. They lean on their support networks for guidance, encouragement, and perspective. Surrounding ourselves with people who believe in us, who lift us up, and who help us see the light in difficult times is an essential part of building resilience. Self-belief is the foundation upon which everything else in life is built. Without it, we are left struggling to move forward, constantly doubting our abilities, and questioning whether we are worthy of success. The power of self-belief is something that I have learned to embrace, and it has been the driving force behind many of my achievements. It is easy to rely on external validation, to seek approval from others, but true success comes from within. The belief we have in ourselves is the one constant factor that shapes our future and allows us to reach the heights we aim for. When I first started pursuing my goals, I didn't have a deep sense of self-belief. I was unsure of my abilities and questioned whether I was truly capable of achieving the things I desired. I often compared myself to others, measuring my progress against theirs, which only made me feel like I was falling short. It wasn't until I realized that self-belief isn't something that comes from comparison or external sources, but rather something that has to be cultivated from within, that I truly started to see progress. Believing in yourself is not just about thinking positively, it's about having the confidence to take action, even when you are unsure of the outcome. It's about pushing past the fears and doubts that naturally arise when we step out of our comfort zones and venture into new territory. There will always be moments of self-doubt, moments when the path ahead seems unclear or uncertain. But it is in those moments that self-belief must shine the brightest. Self-belief is the inner strength that tells you to keep going, even when the odds are stacked against you. It is the voice that whispers, "You can do this," even when everything around you seems to be telling you otherwise. One of the biggest lessons I have learned about self-belief is that it requires patience. We often want immediate results, but building true self-belief takes time. It's not something that happens overnight, nor is it something that can be forced. It is developed gradually, through small victories, repeated efforts, and a willingness to keep moving forward, even when the progress seems slow. It's important to celebrate every small step forward, no matter how insignificant it may seem. Each step is a building block for the larger foundation of self-belief. Over time, as you achieve small goals, you begin to trust yourself more and more. The more you succeed, the more your belief in your abilities grows, and that belief becomes the fuel that propels you toward even greater success. Another critical aspect of self-belief is resilience in the face of failure. Failure is often seen as the opposite of success, but in reality, it is an essential part of the process. Failure teaches us lessons that success cannot. It shows us where we need to improve, helps us adjust our approach, and builds our resilience. If you don't believe in yourself, failure can feel like a definitive end, a sign that you are not good enough. But if you have a strong sense of self-belief, failure becomes just another step in the journey. It becomes a valuable lesson, a tool that sharpens your skills and strengthens your resolve. It is through failure that we build the grit and determination necessary to keep going, even when success seems out of reach. Self-belief also means trusting your instincts. There will be times when you have to make decisions without knowing exactly how things will turn out. It's easy to second-guess yourself, to seek the opinions of others, or to rely on external guidance. While feedback is valuable, true self-belief comes from within, from the confidence to make choices based on your own intuition and experience. Trusting your instincts allows you to take ownership of your decisions and to stand firm in your choices, even when others might doubt you. It's the confidence to know that, even if things don't go as planned, you have the ability to learn, adjust, and keep moving forward. Overcoming self-doubt is one of the biggest obstacles to building self-belief. We all have an inner critic, the voice in our heads that tells us we're not good enough, that we don't have what it takes, or that we're bound to fail. This voice can be incredibly loud and convincing, but it's important to recognize that self-doubt is just a part of the process, not the end. The key is to acknowledge that self-doubt exists and then choose not to let it control you. Instead of listening to that voice, we can choose to replace it with positive affirmations, thoughts of past successes, and reminders of our strengths. Every time self-doubt arises, we can use it as an opportunity to reinforce our belief in ourselves. It's about taking control of the narrative and telling ourselves that we are capable, we are worthy, and we are enough. Self-belief is also connected to how we view our own potential. We all have unique talents, skills, and strengths that make us capable of achieving extraordinary things. However, too often we limit ourselves by setting boundaries based on our own fears and insecurities. We tell ourselves that we can't do something because it seems too difficult or too far out of reach. But self-belief is about recognizing that there are no limits to what we can achieve. Our potential is infinite, and the only thing standing in the way is our own perception of what is possible. By embracing a mindset of abundance and possibility, we open ourselves up to opportunities that we may have once thought were out of reach. Self-belief allows us to see challenges as opportunities for growth and to approach obstacles with the mindset that we can overcome them. Another powerful aspect of self-belief is the impact it has on others. When we believe in ourselves, we radiate confidence and positivity, and that energy is contagious. People are drawn to those who exude self-belief because it inspires them to believe in themselves as well. When you believe in your abilities, you naturally inspire others to believe in theirs. This creates a cycle of empowerment that uplifts everyone around you. Your belief in yourself has the power to create a ripple effect, encouraging others to pursue their goals with confidence and conviction. In the end, self-belief is not about arrogance or pride. It's about having the confidence to trust in your abilities, to push past fear and self-doubt, and to embrace every challenge as an opportunity to grow. It's about recognizing your worth, understanding that you have everything you need within you to succeed, and having the courage to keep going, even when the journey is difficult. The key to success, for me, has been learning to believe in myself every step of the way. When you believe in yourself, anything becomes possible. Growth is one of the most essential aspects of success. It's easy to get comfortable in familiar environments, doing things the way we've always done them. But true progress only happens when we challenge ourselves, step outside of our comfort zones, and embrace the process of growth. Growth is not just about acquiring new knowledge or skills. It's about evolving as a person, becoming more resilient, adaptable, and capable of navigating the challenges that life throws at us. As I've moved through my own journey, growth has been the constant thread that has guided me toward greater success. And I've come to realize that without it, none of the achievements I've had would have been possible. The first step toward growth is a mindset shift. Often people see growth as something that happens when they've achieved a goal or overcome a major obstacle. But in reality, growth is ongoing. It's a continual process that requires us to constantly challenge ourselves, to stretch our limits, and to redefine what's possible. This mindset shift allows us to see setbacks, obstacles, and even failures not as signs of defeat, but as opportunities for growth. When we encounter difficulties, we have a choice. We can let them defeat us, or we can use them as stepping stones to become stronger, smarter, and more capable. One of the most important lessons I've learned about growth is that it requires discomfort. Growth doesn't happen when we stay in our comfort zones. It happens when we step into the unknown, when we try new things, and when we push ourselves beyond what we thought was possible. I used to shy away from challenges that seemed too big or too overwhelming. I would tell myself that I wasn't ready, that I wasn't good enough, or that I didn't have what it took to succeed. But eventually, I realized that growth only occurs when we push through those feelings of doubt and fear. Every time I embraced a challenge, no matter how daunting, I emerged from it stronger, more confident, and more capable than before. It was through those uncomfortable moments that I learned the most about myself and my potential. Another critical aspect of growth is self-awareness. We can't grow if we don't understand where we are starting from or where we need to go. Self-awareness involves being honest with ourselves about our strengths and weaknesses, about the areas where we need to improve, and about the ways in which we hold ourselves back. This level of honesty can be difficult, as it requires us to confront our insecurities, limitations, and fears. But self-awareness is the foundation of growth because it allows us to identify areas for improvement and take deliberate steps toward becoming better. For me, growth has been about consistently evaluating where I am, where I want to be, and what actions I need to take to bridge that gap. It's about being mindful of my thoughts, behaviors, and habits and understanding how they contribute to my progress or hinder it. Growth also requires persistence and patience. In today's fast-paced world, we often expect quick results, but true growth doesn't happen overnight. It's a gradual process that takes time, effort, and a willingness to keep going, even when things get tough. There have been many moments in my journey when I felt frustrated by the lack of immediate progress. It's easy to want to see instant results, but I've learned that the most significant growth happens when we are willing to commit to the long-term process, to trust in our ability to improve over time, and to keep putting in the work even when it feels like we're not getting anywhere. Persistence is a crucial ingredient in growth because it teaches us resilience, determination, and the value of hard work. It's the ability to keep going even when progress is slow, knowing that each step forward is a step toward the person we are becoming. Another vital component of growth is embracing feedback. We can't grow if we are unwilling to accept criticism or learn from others. Often we avoid feedback because it can be uncomfortable or challenging to hear. But feedback, when received with an open mind, is one of the most powerful tools for growth. It helps us see ourselves from a different perspective, points out areas where we can improve, and guides us toward better decisions. Early in my journey, I was hesitant to accept criticism, thinking that it meant I wasn't good enough or that I had failed. But I soon realized that feedback is not a reflection of my worth, it's a valuable opportunity to grow and improve. Today, I actively seek out feedback from others, whether it's from mentors, peers, or even from people who disagree with me. It's through this process of listening, reflecting, and adjusting that I continue to evolve and grow. Growth also involves learning to embrace failure. I've failed many times in my life, and each failure has taught me something valuable. Failure is often seen as the opposite of success, but in reality, it is an integral part of the growth process. Every time we fail, we learn something new about ourselves, about our approach, and about the world around us. Failure shows us what doesn't work, what needs to change, and what we can do differently next time. It's not the failure itself that determines our growth, but how we respond to it. If we allow failure to define us, to discourage us, or to make us feel incapable, we miss out on the opportunity to learn and grow. But if we choose to see failure as a lesson, as a stepping stone to something better, it becomes a powerful tool for growth.